Welcome once again. It's time for the show that defies categorization. It's Choice TV Radio. Is it TV? Is it radio? Heck, it's both. With your host, John Marchese, Executive Director, Producer, Choice TV, including the show that's coming out. When's that show coming out on Fox TV?
Hey, Paul, how are you?
I'm good. When's that show on Fox
It is tomorrow night.
Wow.
On Fox, 3 a.m., so it's late night, early morning, Friday night, Saturday morning on Fox, and it is a fantastic show.
So this is, for those listening later as a podcast, this will be September 16th, right? Is it, can they see it as a repeat anywhere else? Is it rerun, or is it once and done?
Yeah, it will be on YouTube. I'll have it on my YouTube channel. And what we do on the Choice TV Business Show, we promote the best businesses in Southern California, Paul, but we make it fun. We interweave a little story and reality, a little sitcom, and we make it fun. It's very unique, and I enjoy doing it.
Is there drinking involved, or no?
That's the after party.
Oh, okay.
That is definitely the after party. So, as Paul said, I am John Marchese, host of Choice TV Radio, and again, I have my TV show tomorrow night. And in the studio with me, I have my producer, Ryan Hicks.
Hello, hello.
How you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. A little rushed, but...
the show's finally done, John. It airs tomorrow night.
It airs tomorrow night. And Ryan, the producer credit. You are a producer on the show. I'm so happy. It came out so good, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm excited for everybody to see it.
And you know what I'm really excited, too, about?
What's that?
Who I have in the studio. I have, and get ready for that applause. Get ready, because we have some big wigs
crowd,
here.
Look at all the people standing
There
outside.
are a lot. There's a lot of gawkers that we'll talk to. I have Chris Wolfe, reporter for Channel 5, KTLA. Chris, how are you, buddy?
I am great.
You are here. Be sure to talk in that microphone, Chris.
Okay, I don't want to eat the mic, but it's different, you know?
You know what's amazing, though, is you say wolf the same way my wife does. You say woof.
Woof.
I'm so glad somebody has finally addressed it because I think about this.
So woof.
Woofy, Wolfman, I'll take it all. It's all
charming,
good.
JP, don't worry.
Woof.
Let me introduce Chris. Chris is an accomplished news broadcaster and actor. He is our KTLA Channel 5 news reporter here in Southern California, and he covers incredible stories and news items. Before that, Ryan, listen to this. He was with CNN as a reporter and anchor. Get
Wow.
that.
That's awesome.
Working with the likes of Anderson Cooper, and he covered Katrina. Is that amazing or what? We're going to be asking him about that. Yeah. In addition to news, he's acting and can be seen from time to time on Scandal on ABC, Ryan.
It's a big show.
It is a huge show, and I've seen Chris on it. He's fabulous, and he can be seen all the time. You're welcome, Chris. He can be seen all the time in the movie Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yes.
That movie was lit.
Yes.
Isn't that? Yeah.
That's an amazing movie.
And he has a new line of T-shirts and baseball caps that he's modeling today here.
Look at that. Yeah. When we turn this into a video that we're going to do on YouTube, yes, everybody can, the fine folks could see his attire. And you know who else I have in studio, Ryan?
Oh, man.
Oh, I'm excited to hear this.
It is. We have Tony Cabrerra. Tony, say hi.
Hi, friends.
Played by the wonderful Greg. Don't worry. Played by the wonderful Greg Audino.
Can the world handle that? That's
is there a
that's
clapping?
big news
Is there
for you,
clapping?
Yeah, we're going to give him a round of applause.
Yeah.
No applause.
There's
for that.
no applause for that.
Oh, no love.
Someday.
Come on.
Someday.
Let me do a little introduction with Greg.
Okay.
In addition to playing the one and only Tony Cabrerra, his acting credits include ABC's The Catch. He was on The Catch, Paul.
That's huge.
That's a huge series.
Did he get caught?
I don't know. I don't know what happened the last time because he took off in a car, right?
What's that?
Right, Greg?
That
Your
is what
character.
happened. That's what happened, and the rest is a mystery.
The rest is a mystery.
You know what's amazing, though? For somebody so accomplished as this young man, he doesn't know to talk in the microphone here. He keeps
Am I?
at you.
Oh, shit. Okay, sorry. Well, this is my first time on the radio.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll be
Still
gentle.
learning.
We'll be
Okay.
gentle.
In
Okay,
fact,
I'll
you know
stay
what?
right here.
I've just realized that both of these fine gentlemen and actors are on Shonda Rhimes shows.
That's
Yeah,
right.
we have that in
Shonda
common.
Land.
Shonda.
Producer extraordinaire.
She's
creator,
She's good.
writer, producer. She's
Yeah,
good.
she's awesome.
So,
She's
Shonda,
good.
we hope that Peyton survives. That's the character he played. And he took off in a hurry.
Don't kill him off.
I hope he didn't
Not
hit a
this
tree or
quickly.
anything.
No.
So I'm really excited, and Greg or Tony is my host of the Choice TV show, which again tomorrow night Fox 11. But Chris, I want to start out with you. You are a reporter, dude. How does it feel to be live like 4 or 5 times a week?
Yeah.
You're on the air live.
Absolutely.
How is that?
It's exciting. It's an adrenaline rush. It can also be very stressful depending on your deadline pressure and whatnot. But I love the industry and being in news because I'm not the kind of a person who could sit behind a desk all day. I'm just too antsy, too crazy. And I would be looking for an excuse to get out of that desk every 10 minutes. Let's go on a coffee break. Let's go grab some lunch. Let's do this. Let's go to the copy machine. I would be doing something all the time. I can't sit still. So I love getting into the office, into the station in the morning, getting my assignment, and then within a few minutes I'm out the door in the truck chasing whatever big story of the day there is.
Oh my gosh! But how do you deal with gawkers or people that want to get in the live shot?
Like
Is that
Greg,
stressful?
Greg Audino?
Oh, like Greg. Yes,
no,
like
I
Greg.
behave myself.
Yeah, I interviewed Chris, and Greg had to jump in and be Greg, right, Ryan?
Yeah, he was very Greg.
Yeah, he was very Greg. But how do you deal with that,
mean?
Chris?
Normally, I can handle it pretty well. Just years of practice and training, if you will, just teaching yourself to stay focused on the material, your message, what you have to deliver. But every now and then, someone will just come up and be crazy and just purposely want to screw with you and mess with you. And, you get tripped up. It happened to me, I think last week I was doing a story about the California Incline reopening, the historic California Incline in Santa Monica,
the beach.
down the bluff. Yeah. And we were doing a live shot for the 6 o'clock news, and a mother came up. I think she wanted to get into the shot.
Right.
And there was this deck area, sort of a viewing area, and we had just taken up one little corner.
Right.
The public could come and go as they please, all around us, behind us. She had to come in there with a wagon and her son and kind of wedge herself into that corner between me and the photographer.
Oh my gosh.
And then when he said, ma'am, he very kindly said, could you please, give us our space here? And she
Right.
just went off, and she was very upset and very indignant, and I can't believe this is happening, and this is a public spot, and who do you think you are? And just going off on us. And it's like you have the whole platform around us to yourself. We are not being obtrusive or blocking anyone's view. She just wanted to get on TV and wanted to get on camera and maybe get her son on camera, and just wedged herself in between us, and it was very uncomfortable, and I stumbled a little bit. I didn't know what she was going to do, if she was going to lunge at me on live television or,
The glamours of being a news reporter.
Have you ever had to
Greg?
slap anyone, Chris?
No.
That would not be good on air.
No, that would not be good.
on
I've
there.
not
Man's
had to
gonna
slap
stand up for
anyone.
himself.
Well, I wanted
No.
to ask Chris. It's fascinating. What was the moment what made you want to be a broadcaster?
I will never forget. This
Reporter.
is burned into my mind forever. It was the crash of Air Florida into the Potomac River, the icy Potomac River, in January of 1982.
I remember that.
And I was, I think, 13 or 14 at the time, and I was watching the news coverage. Specifically, shout out to ABC News, and I believe 2020 at the time, which was hosted by Barbara Walters and Hugh Downs.
I remember.
And they had stellar correspondents on that show, and I was glued to the coverage. And I can't remember if they actually showed the water rescues with the cables dangling from the helicopters, pulling the few survivors out from under that icy water. And I was just shocked, horrified, mesmerized, fascinated all at once. And I knew at that moment, I said, I'm going to be a newsman. This is what I'm going to do with my life. And I never, ever wavered from that moment.
Oh my gosh, isn't that? Yeah, because that was. I mean, it was happening. It was unfolding live on TV at the time.
Yeah.
And hear that? You weren't even born yet.
I was
Greg,
not, but a twinkle in my mother's eye in 1982.
or itching your
1991,
dad's
man.
pants right back then.
I think that's the year my parents got married.
Yeah, see, I mean,
so.
and
Wow.
since then, Chris, it had you, it grabbed you.
It did. It grabbed me. That just kind of coverage and watching this unfold. And I still say to this day, I think news is the best reality television there is out there. It is real. We're talking to people on a daily basis, many times victims, and their stories need to be told, and we want to help them and help catch the bad guys and the criminals out there. And educate the public on one major story or another. And
Sure.
I think it's a very noble profession, and I really do feel blessed and honored to be a part of it.
Well, you do
it's
it well,
awesome.
Chris. We've
Thank
seen
you.
your stories. That story. Chris did a story on a gentleman that went off a cliff.
Oh man.
Yes.
And his car landed. Why don't you tell it? It's incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, David Laveau,
Uh-huh.
and this was about 5 or 6 years ago in Castaic.
Right.
And it was, he was coming home from, I don't know, a trip to the grocery store or something. And it was on a winding mountain road, and it was dark, and he was rounding a hairpin curve, and the headlights from the oncoming car spooked him. I think he thought that they were in his lane, had crossed the center line, and were headed straight for him. He panicked, and he ended up driving over the side down a ravine. I believe he plunged 200 feet, something
gosh.
ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
And amazingly, he survived.
Right.
But his car ended up next to another car that had gone off the same spot, down the ravine, banged up, and there was a body inside behind the wheel.
Did you hear that, Paul?
crazy.
There was another car right next to
Yeah.
his with a dead body.
Yeah.
So and now he's like.
Can you imagine what's
yeah.
going through his mind?
Yeah.
And there's no cell service in this area. There's
Right.
none.
Right.
He's probably
It's a-
thinking, am I dead too here?
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
exactly.
And-
when I'm going to end up like this poor victim right next to me,
Right.
the same way,
Right.
and this is it. This is it. But he survived for about a week, eating bugs and leaves and drinking nearby creek water. And amazingly, it was his family that ended up finding him. Some search efforts were
Right.
launched, but to no avail until his family retraced his steps, and they drove out there themselves, and they found him, and they yelled down, I think his grandkids were part of the search, and they, Grandpa, or Dad, and he heard them, and must have thought he was dreaming, but it was real. They found him, and we were there shortly after they found him, and they were hoisting him up
Right.
on a stretcher or a gurney from the side of the mountain.
And you were the first ones that did
We
the interview.
were,
You were the
yes.
first one that
we were the
interviewed
first
him.
ones to interview. Well, we were the first ones to interview the family.
The
He was already
families.
taken to the hospital
Sure,
by
sure.
then. But we were the first ones to get the family members and probably put the story on the air that night. And then I requested an interview with him in the hospital. That didn't quite work out over the next few months and years. And of course, all the big shows wanted him.
Oh, that's a movie.
America.
That-
It is
yeah,
a movie.
Yeah,
absolutely.
that makes for a movie.
Did that man have like a strong set of survival skills prior to this happening, or
He
it was
really,
more like his
not that
instincts having kicked
his
in?
instincts,
That's
yeah,
insane.
which tells you what we're all capable
Yes,
of
doesn't it?
put under those circumstances
Wow.
and in that situation. He just had that will to survive, and he was going to try his darndest not to
Yeah.
end up like the poor
Yeah,
victim
that's
right next to
something
him.
else.
And
Wow.
he survived. And just given all those circumstances, and it's a Hollywood movie. You can't write this stuff.
Yeah.
No.
Reality is always stranger than fiction. And his family reached out to me recently and said, "Hey, we'd like to talk now." And
Dust is settled.
dust is
There's no
settled.
movie deals
No
coming.
movie
'cause,
deals coming
of
in.
course, listen to this, Greg. Hollywood said we're going to make you rich and famous and book deals and movie deals.
Yes.
And they actually said no, we're not going to do a report. Their publicist said don't talk to the media because
Right.
we got you covered.
Exactly.
And nothing happened, Greg. And they got into a big fight, right?
Yeah,
The
there was some
family.
infighting in the family.
Yeah, because they're going to be millionaires, and right.
Why don't we go with this deal? We should have gone with that deal. There was infighting among the siblings and the children, and they ended up finally saying, "You know what? This is ridiculous. We are a family. Dad survived this horrible ordeal. Let's come together." And now they're stronger than ever, and it's just a great story. And the fact that they were willing to be so honest and open is also fantastic, because
Sure.
they could have just brushed that under the rug and not
Yeah.
told anybody, but they wanted to reach out and tell their story, and I have a lot of respect for them.
And of all people, they reached out to you, Chris. Can you tell the story? Right? Can you tell our story?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
After all this is fighting and
know,
stuff. And
I
I
know.
saw that. That was incredible. Is there going to be maybe a follow up
I certainly hope so.
for Sweep?
Yeah.
Maybe in Sweep.
November Sweeps
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
up.
Well, it's
I hope so.
it's Pulitzer Prize winning material.
It certainly
Greg.
is, yeah. So if they need somebody to play this man, I'm happy to, I'm happy to.
Oh, so you
Old
hear that?
enough, Greg.
Dyeing my hair, some prosthetics.
You're not old enough.
But he's working
You can
it.
play one of the grandkids, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
do
that's
like that. He's
Twist on the
working
story
it.
though. It's the grandkid that goes in the car. And
Yes. Yes.
You gotta spruce it up.
It's
to make the
it's
big bucks.
Hollywood.
But then you went to you got your degree in broadcast journalism
Yes.
and
Boston University. Shout out to Boston
shout out to them.
University.
Yeah, for sure. And then
New
listen to
England
this,
boy.
Greg. He worked for CNN. He was a reporter, an anchor, right?
Yes.
At CNN.
Yeah.
And he worked with the likes of Anderson Cooper on Katrina.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Is that incredible?
Was that 05?
It was 05.
Yeah, I was
absolutely.
freshman in
The
high
end of
school.
August 2005.
Yeah, I remember that.
Katrina hit New Orleans, and I had just wrapped up covering the Michael Jackson child molestation trial in Santa Maria.
That's
And spent much of the summer up there covering that trial. He was acquitted, and then Katrina hits New Orleans, and CNN said, "Don't unpack. You're heading out to the Gulf Coast." And there we were, and it was just surreal. We were living in these red bubble tents. It was like a sea of bubble tents, red bubble tents, on the tarmac at Louis Armstrong International Airport.
Oh, my
Because you
gosh.
couldn't, everything was shut down. There was water contamination. You had bodies floating around you.
You
in
did?
some
You saw
spots. We did see that. Not right where we were, but we traveled to the outskirts where that was happening, and I did see that.
That's
and
terrible.
It was, it changes you.
You're like, I'll take Michael Jackson molestation over any day,
Yes.
covering that over this. I mean,
It
that's
must
horrible.
be difficult for you though when you hear about such a big story like either the Michael Jackson story or Katrina. There must be some mixed feelings. It's great. You probably have a lot of pride. You want to report it. You're excited about it, but at the same time, it's so
Yeah.
devastating to so many
yeah.
people. It must
Yeah.
be an interesting balance of emotions there.
For sure. And you have to, ultimately you have to do your job and get the message across.
Right.
So you do try to disconnect to a degree. But I can remember during 9/11, a lot of correspondents and anchors on all the networks everywhere were just breaking down into tears during a report. And you know what? We're human. We feel. How could you not with the horror of 9/11?
Yeah.
And I remember that. And, they would many times come back and say, I'm sorry. And I felt like saying, I'm watching them saying, no, you're doing a great job. And you should not have to apologize for being human.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you had a successful career at CNN, but you're traveling everywhere. You're living out of suitcases, right, Chris?
Yeah, it's a different beast, and working on the network level, it takes a toll, and there are sacrifices that have to be made.
Right.
And you are traveling all the time. You're chasing the big story of the day, the week, the month, the year, wherever it is around the world.
Sure.
Many times.
Sure.
And you're traveling a lot, and it can be very difficult on relationships. But if it works for certain people, it's great,
Right.
And I have the utmost respect for correspondence on a network level. But I like where I am right now.
Yeah, our local
with
reporter
KTLA.
here.
Yeah, there's stability there. You get to go home for dinner most of the time, and it's just a great. And in Los Angeles, come on, it's LA.
It's a great market out here,
is.
right?
It's
There's New York and
phenomenal.
LA, and
Yes.
you're in LA.
The top two markets in
yeah.
the country: New York #1, LA #2. The entertainment capital of the world out here. Some of the opportunities I've been able to have are just, amazing, and I feel so thankful. Being on the red carpet at the Oscars or the Golden Globes, and
Right.
just different stories I've been able to cover
Sure.
over the years. It's just
And now being on Choice TV.
yes,
now being on Choice TV.
Highlight of his career.
Somebody wants
Nowhere
me
to
as
go
a
but down,
guest
buddy.
on a TV radio show.
And working with Mary Beth McDade,
yes,
right?
Mary Beth.
Yeah, Mary
and
Beth.
Casey Montoya, Courtney Friel, Lou Parker, Christina Pascucci, Cher Calvin, Megan Henderson, Lynette Romero. If I'm forgetting any, Kimberly
Yost.
Chang,
Chip
Yost,
Yost. Yes,
Chip Yost,
I know.
who's
These are
your local
Orange
OC Bureau
County,
chief.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. And
absolutely.
these are
Chippy.
classic names in the industry.
Yeah.
So I am so honored to have Chris here, as I am
I'm honored to
honored.
be here.
Thank you, Chris, for Greg Audino.
Finally get to the good part of the show.
Yeah. I know, he was kind of sleeping during some of that.
He started
I
to
was listening
snore
intently.
when I was
know,
talking.
right?
I mean, come on.
No respect. No respect,
No
folks.
respect.
Okay, all right. So, Greg,
Yeah.
what made you want to? When was your aha moment of you wanted to be an actor?
You know what? That is one question that I can answer quite concretely, JP. That would
Really?
be July 18th, 2008. I was at the midnight showing of The Dark Knight. I was there with a bunch of my buddies and this girl I just started dating. And I had never even considered movies before. It's, oh, that's funny. Oh, that was cool. Oh, that's scary. But I went there and I saw Heath Ledger do his thing. And I was like, who is that? That's amazing. What's he doing? That looks like fun. I can do that. I want to do that. So I was blabbering about it for the next 2 weeks in the house. And then I just decided I wanted to do it, and the next year I went to college and I pursued my theater degree, and the rest is history.
Really? But what play were you in that was very impactful? Listen to this one, Chris. Listen to this one.
Well, I was in a lot of plays. I was a theater major, but my last one and my most prideful one was Peter Pan. Now, if you read the play,
and wait, did you play Peter?
I played Peter.
Oh my God! In those tights? Were you in those tights?
No. All right. Well, listen. If you read the play is actually very dark. So it's it's watered down a lot for Disney and such and such.
Sure.
So we really tried to surface, the kind of the deeper messages in the play, which explains why somebody who looks like me was playing Peter Pan. It was just a very different aesthetic and a different vibe than other Peter Pans you've seen. Yeah. It was great though. I had such a good time with it, and it was nice because in theater you have, especially in college when you don't really have anything else to do, you have months to just work on one thing, and it's easy to get a great performance because you can dig into it and you can create. So it's just nice to kind of be able to focus on just that for 3 months, and it was my proudest performance to date.
Oh my God! Look, hear that?
I have a question for Greg.
Yes.
Were you able to fly across the stage on cables?
Well, we didn't do cables. We did have a way of flying though. Yeah, you got to figure out.
Okay,
something.
that's awesome.
Yeah, but it was pretty small theater department, so we had to get by on what we had.
Were there drugs? Good. Were there drugs involved?
Were there what?
Were there drugs involved?
Yeah, only at the after party.
Yeah, shut off his mic, somebody. But this was where? Where were you, in Delaware?
Goucher College, no, in Maryland.
In Maryland,
right
but you decided Maryland was too big a state, or too small a state for you, so you had to come to California, right?
Well, it's most work in California, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, pursue your dream. Yeah. And what was it, everything you thought it was going to be?
No. Well,
and more?
In terms of what? The industry or California?
Yeah, how was it? How did it live up to your expectations? It's hard,
or
right?
in terms of the drugs? Or...
Yeah. This guy. No, all right, well, one thing, the industry is just so different than you can't imagine, you can't fathom how big it is until you're actually in it. Because especially if you're as far away as Rhode Island, where I grew up, you are under the impression that everything you see, like everything you see in the theaters and everything you see on TV, is all there is. So you think you can just audition for whatever you want all the time, but then you get here and it's so well layered. There are so many these young filmmakers and this and that, and they're just a lot of layers to get through, and it's non-linear. Like the first job I had out here was a play. I got it like 3 days after I moved here, and there were some older people in the play. So just for fun, I looked them up on IMDb, and these people had been in the industry for like 30 years. Had a couple like 100 credits to their name, worked on like these big network shows and movies and stuff like that, and here they are working the same job as I am. I just got here 3 days ago, and that was a big a wake-up call, eye-opener. It's crazy how it can happen like that, and it's unlike any other job in that sense, that's for sure. So that was the biggest shock for me, and I'm still going through it.
Yeah, you've been here how long?
You know what? This week is 3 years. This week I moved in. The plane landed on September 13th, and I officially moved in on September 18th. So we are right in the middle of the 3-year
happy anniversary.
Yeah, happy anniversary, Greg. Yeah. And look, you're on Choice TV. You're on and Choice TV Radio.
Here I am.
Look, here you are. Gig. Here you are. But our buddy Greg here, Chris. He's been in some sex scenes in movies. I mean, I wanted to ask him, how does it feel?
He's been in what?
Well, okay, Paul.
What? And television.
Enough with you.
And television. I've seen
but I want to ask him
how
it feels to do that. I mean, we want to know. Like, is it? You're working with these actresses and even actors too. But how is that like?
Well, all right. So I've done I think 5 so far, and I can
movies
tell you
or sex scenes.
Sex scenes.
And these aren't these are legit movies. I mean I mean I didn't want to make it sound like
But it's very unpleasant. Everyone thinks it's not. Everyone thinks it's kind of that'd be fun. Some people ask if we're actually having sex. I'm like, no, but no, it's unpleasant. Because it's very hot. There's everyone in there. There's the lights on you. You usually have to like contort yourself into a position that looks good on camera, but in reality is wildly uncomfortable. Like if anything, it's maybe fun to like kiss a stranger who you have a crush on or something, but generally you don't know the person. It's just weird. So. Yeah, it's not really a pleasurable situation typically.
Really, and there's a sock you have to wear. What's it called? I didn't know the name of this.
It's
listen to this, Chris.
The fun name is called. All right. Well, the real name is called a modesty sock, but we are. There's also a It rhymes with block sock. I'll put it that way.
Listen to that.
Yeah, so that's always fun. It's just a sock and a rubber band, and it's pretty funny. It's secure. It's more secure than you'd think. I've hung around on one of those things for a few hours. Forgot it was there.
So they try to cover your modesty. I mean, it's professional, right?
I mean, yeah, a lot of actors, they like refuse to appear naked, and like even Michael Caine has this thing about, don't appear naked, because when you're naked, that's what it becomes, and the audience can't focus on anything else. And I don't know. I guess that's true to a degree. So it just depends on your own circumstances, but usually they have the flexibility to have you wear a sock, at least if it's in a sex scene.
Yeah. And Chris, how was it working with Jake Gyllenhaal? I mean, that's a big movie.
He knows things about sex scenes.
Great.
Right?
My man Heath.
The funny thing is, when they first took me to the set or the location, it was at a house in Tarzana, I believe, which was subbing for Granada Hills.
Right.
And there's a big scene, a climactic scene in the movie where this family was massacred, and Jake Gyllenhaal's character and his partner are the first ones on scene, even before the cops or the EMT workers get there. And once all of the public safety personnel get there, police and firefighters, they have to run away. They have to get out of there because, they have contaminated a crime scene and all this stuff. So they're running down this long, winding driveway. And they actually set me up. During the shooting of that scene, I was sitting in a chair at the foot of that driveway watching them do all these takes. And I didn't even recognize Jake Gyllenhaal at the time. They didn't say, here's where we're going to put you before we shoot your scene. You're going to watch this, and that's Jake Gyllenhaal running down the driveway with the other actor. I didn't know. They just sat me down, and I'm there, and I'm fascinated by everything. First time I'd ever been on a movie set, and I'm watching all this unfold. And I heard that Jake had lost 50-some pounds for that role because he wanted to look like a street rat, just emaciated, creepy. Yeah. His eyes were popping out of his skull. It was really creepy. His cheeks were sunken in. He had that weird man bun hairstyle. It didn't look like the Jake Gyllenhaal we had seen in so many movies before. And I didn't even recognize him. And I sat there maybe 30 minutes while they were doing take after take. Dogs would bark and ruin a scene, or they'd trip up their lines, or they might literally trip running down the driveway, and then they'd have to go back and start over. And I was there for a good 30 minutes at least before I heard him come up and talk to someone right next to me. And I was like, that's Jake Gyllenhaal?
Oh, my gosh.
And I think I turned to a production assistant. I said, what happened? What's wrong with him? Is he sick? He looks terrible. What happened? And she started laughing. She said, no, he lost all this weight for the role. And I said, well, it's working. And he looks creepy and unrecognizable. And then I met him. I got to go to the wrap party. I got to go to a special screening of the movie in the weeks following after they finished it all up. And it was just phenomenal. He's a great person, very kind and generous and down to earth, totally.
The wild thing, especially about that weight loss, is a lot of times, and I think in this case, in Jake's time, they put a bunch of muscle on right after. Like he did Southpaw.
Yes.
I think that was the next movie
after,
he did.
absolutely.
So that's like a huge fluctuation. I mean, say 50 pounds he dropped initially, then he went 50 pounds over where he was at. Like Christian Bale did that for like The Machinist and then Batman.
And Matthew McConaughey for Dallas Buyers Club. And I heard that Jake actually consulted Matthew about weight loss.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Having seen him in Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah. Right. That's commitment to a part, right?
Yes,
it is.
Yes.
Right? Most definitely.
That really is. The Machinist, Christian Bale.
Oh, yeah. He was near death.
Talking about emaciated.
I know.
Yeah. Well, listen, we are going to take a quick break. And I have a special surprise for you, Greg.
Oh, I love surprises.
Yes, I bet you do. Really quick break.
Me.
So we'll be right back at John Marchese with Greg Audino and Christopher Wolfe on OC Talk Radio, Choice TV Radio, octalkradio.net.
All right, back to Choice TV Radio.
That guitar.
Thank you, Paul. I am here with Greg Audino and Chris Wolfe from Channel 5. They are both incredible actors.
But mostly Greg Audino.
What's that?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Oh, see, he interrupts all the time. I wanted to talk real briefly. Well, not briefly, because it's the show, Choice TV Show. It's a business show that is going to be airing on Fox 11 tomorrow night, 3 a.m. What we do, Paul, is we have businesses. We have about 4 or 5, 6 business commercials in the show. But I like to weave a little story within where the commercials run into
a narrative.
The commercials run in the story runs in the commercial. So I have on this episode, it's Paul Diaz with Greg Audino, who plays Tony Cabrerra, and I have Megan Wright, who is played by Marikah Cunningham. And guess what, Greg?
What?
I have a surprise for you.
You do. Is she here?
We have Marikah on the phone.
What?
Yes.
Hey, Marikah. Nice to hear your voice.
How are you?
Pretty swell. How are you?
Good. How's it going over there?
We're having a good time.
blast.
It's nice.
We
yeah.
wish you were here, Marikah.
We do.
Oh, wish I was there too.
We're here in
But
spirit.
I wanted to tell a story. And I don't even know if Marikah knows this. So when I did the Choice TV show, like about a year and a half ago, we submitted for, we put it on Backstage, and I went through the actresses. Chris, you get like 200 actresses, you know what I mean?
Yes.
At
So we
least,
narrowed
yeah,
it down, and after a while, it's like, oh, more. But my wife, Madonna, I had her look through it, and she goes, John, I think I found somebody. Who? And I looked at it, her name is Marikah, and boy, did I saw her headshot, her reel. Incredible, Chris. The singing and acting and beauty, right?
Yeah,
Right, Greg?
You're going to make me talk about that on the air. Yeah.
So listen, I know, it's true, but listen to this, folks. So we scheduled the audition. As it worked out, Marikah was the first gal, because we knew we
she
casted
was,
Greg.
yeah.
She was the very first one. And tell
Really? I was the first audition? I didn't know that.
you were the very first one. Yep.
Wow.
And tell the viewers and listeners when you saw Marikah.
Oh, okay. Sorry in advance, Marikah. No, I just
no.
Marikah was just like not only is she so beautiful, but she's so like lighthearted and wonderful. She walked out. I was like, JP, are they all going to be like that? Did I just meet my soulmate here in this audition? But then it turns out she had a boyfriend, of course. So that's just
always
how it
happens
goes.
that way.
But anyway, if Marikah's not embarrassed enough yet, she's a terrific friend, and she obviously blew all of us away in the audition room. And it was great chemistry read for sure.
Yeah, I have to say, when I walked in the room, too, though, I felt something special. Like, everyone in there, I just felt like we all just kind of instantly clicked. And I just had such a good feeling, and I didn't feel nervous. I felt like I could be myself, and it just had, like, you guys just had such a good energy, and it was just so great I felt like I had known you guys already for a long time or something. I don't know. It was cool.
Well, that's how it is in auditions. I mean, when the casting director or whomever the producers are there, if they're being friendly and everyone's lighthearted, it alleviates like 80% of the pressure, Do you agree with that?
Totally.
Yeah, it's
And
so true.
yeah.
And during the audition, all the ladies had to do it. I wanted them in the course of the little scene to whisper to Greg something that would shock Greg, and I wanted him as part of the scene to tell me, is it from 0 to 10? I wanted to see how far these actresses would push it, and I don't know what Marikah said to Greg. I still don't want to know. But Greg turned.
I don't even remember.
You don't? I'll tell
he
you later.
does.
Oh, wait, actually, I do.
There you go.
Whatever it was, Chris, it was a 10.
Well, the biggest thing, JP, was the contrast, because, like I said, she's so sweet, and she's like this innocent, delicate person. And
And to hear
so
whatever
the contrast was really what did it. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I was going for shocking. That's what I was doing.
You did a very well job,
Marikah, tell the folks what your first commercial was. What Choice TV what we did that first day we shot. You came to Orange County, and what did we do?
The Hellstream one. The Hellstream one?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was so incredible. So went to Orange County, John Wayne Airport, and show up there, and we got to go up in a helicopter. I'd never been in a helicopter before. I was a little bit nervous, but once we got up there, it was so beautiful, and got to see all of Los Angeles from up above, and got to interview everyone there at Hellstream, and everyone was so nice and so cool, and got to see kind of how everything is run behind the scenes. And it was just such an amazing experience. It was really cool.
It was, and we submitted it for a Telly Award, and guess what, Chris? Won the Telly.
You
won
got
a
it.
Telly
Congratulations.
Award.
Congratulations.
You know he had to mention that.
Yes. And you know what, Marikah? I think
producer.
Sometimes you got to blow your own
You
horn.
do.
yeah,
My
too,
man.
too. But no, I give credit to Marikah too because she was so
Oh,
good.
yeah.
It takes a
It's
village,
a team.
Chris.
No, it's true. It is.
Yeah. Very collaborative effort.
So,
Yeah.
Greg, how many awards do you have?
Yeah.
Countless, Marikah. Countless awards.
Okay.
I remember I was nominated for an award in college, I remember, but in order to go, I had to do like a final audition, and instead I was traveling abroad to Australia for my study abroad program, so I just said, I'm going to go to Australia instead.
Well, that's a good choice. Life experience.
Yeah, it was the best. It's the best place I've ever been.
Yeah. So, and I think Greg's a little jealous. We did a
very.
Facebook a video, Marikah, and he got to see that one of these days. He presented me the award, and it was fun. And he was a little.
Yeah, that was fun.
I didn't know if it was acting. I think it was. She's like, it's her first commercial, and she wins an award.
It's called good acting, JP. You just can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So I wanted Marikah to come on and you're gonna stay up, right, Marikah, and watch it tomorrow night?
Heck yes.
All right. We're gonna have a party. Let's go
viewing
to your
party.
Yeah, viewing party. We
course.
should.
Pizza,
Absolutely. Who's hosting?
some coffee.
Oh, pizza.
Oh, pizza. Yes.
Favorite.
Sounds
Yes.
like a weird combo.
I know.
Pizza
See,
and coffee.
How long is
cold
the show?
beer and pizza.
How long is it? An hour? Or
it's a half hour.
Half hour. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a half hour. And so again,
looks good,
Marikah
too.
plays
Looks
the
very
wonderful Megan Wright. She is a news reporter, innocent news reporter from early Iowa, and very sweet and innocent.
Is that a real place?
That is she researched it. That's how good of an actor
Wow.
she is.
I love it.
When she came to the set, she had already known. That's method, right? Isn't that method acting?
Well, when
you're
she came to set, she said a little town called Iowa.
a little town.
Oh,
Iowa.
After that hiccup, it was
Busted.
No, I use that in the show. I use that in the show.
Yeah.
So you meant to do that, right, Marikah?
Oh, yes, because I'm a dance, right?
Yeah. We were sweet, nervous, and the first show had huge success. And this, I don't want to give too much away, Chris, but there's a little love triangle going on in this.
a few of them. Yeah.
Oh,
between
boy.
there's Paul Diaz and Greg over here and Marikah.
Wow.
It sets up for a good little love triangle. So anyway, Marikah, I'm so glad that you called in. I know you're going off to work and you have lots of auditions and you're booking things and I'm so happy that you're a part of the show.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me, and good luck, you guys. And I can't wait to see it tomorrow night on Fox at 3 a.m.
3 a.m. Yeah,
Yes.
late night, early morning. Yeah, we're going to be entertaining those night owls. So,
Plenty of them.
Yes.
yeah. So, see you, Marikah.
It's nice hearing your voice,
All right.
Marikah. Thank you for
Take
calling.
care, guys. Big hugs.
All right,
Bye.
bye-bye. She is a sweetheart.
What a doll.
She is a sweetheart. And wait, an Emmy? Were you nominated for?
Yeah.
Well, we gotta mention that.
Part of a,
Yes.
Part of a group doing shows about veterans and our armed services during the 4th of July. KTLA every year runs a special on that. It's like KTLA Salutes America.
Right.
It has various titles, but I've contributed to that the past couple of years, so I was nominated as part of a group. So it was very
So
rewarding.
you got to get nominated, Greg. We all gotta,
Girl, I've been here 3 years. Give me some time.
He's only been here 3 years.
Well, you're
He's been
nominated.
here 3 years and he's been in 5 sex scenes. Come on. Give us a break.
Yeah, what's up with that?
You're nominated as one of my favorite actors,
Oh,
and the star
the
of
only
Choice
nomination
TV's.
that matters.
Yes,
Thank
well
you,
that's
JP.
true. That's true. So, Chris, I wanted to ask you, how is, because you're a personality, you people in L.A., movie stars and stuff. How does it feel when a movie star or a celebrity recognize you? Like you're in awe of them, and they're.
Oh, yeah.
How is that? Tell me about that.
That's incredible. And one that I can remember was I was covering a charity function in Beverly Hills
Right.
at the Beverly Hilton years ago. And it was all these huge stars, Raquel Welch and Susan Lucci and Vanna White, and the list just goes on. I think Gladys Knight was there, and the list goes on. And these are people that I grew up with, and
Sure.
you know, my dad was in love with Raquel Welch growing up, and she was one of the major American sex symbols of the 60s and 70s
Sure.
and 80s, and
the 2000s. Come on.
and the 2000s. Yes. She still is. She still is. And my mom was a big All My Children fan growing up and was watching Susan Lucci all the time. And, of course, we would all watch Wheel of Fortune with Vanna White. And I was talking to them at this charity ball, and I think I went up to Vanna White and I said, "Hello, Miss White, I'm Chris Wolfe from Channel 5." And she said, I know that. She goes, I'm a huge KTLA fan, and I watch Channel 5, and I just stepped back. I was like, is this really happening? This is too cool. Right. So, yeah, that was awesome.
Did you ask her if you can buy a vowel?
No, I did not. I did not.
But it was surreal, right?
It was surreal.
It's really surreal.
It was.
And how is it
awesome.
talking? Now, Chris went to he's a celebrity. He goes to celebrity parties. He was at a party. Katy Perry was at this party, but she wasn't only just at it. She was DJing this party.
DJing, and I didn't even recognize her at first because at the time she had bleached her hair blonde, and she was wearing a little Santa hat, and she was in the corner of this living room, and playing music through a laptop.
Yeah.
And I told you, I said there was one artist she did not play the entire evening.
Let's
Take a guess. Who was the one artist she did not play?
She did not play?
Yes.
Yeah. Who do you think?
Like a
Katy
current
Perry. Yeah.
A current day artist?
One artist she did not play.
Oh, wait.
Iron Butterfly.
All right, Paul. Just keep eating your peanuts, Paul. You know, it's okay, Paul. We don't need any commentary.
Let's see.
Okay.
Was the one artist she didn't play was it Katy Perry?
Yes.
Oh,
you nailed
got
it, Greg.
it.
You nailed it. She did not play her own music.
That's
And we
awesome.
all thought, that's cool. You know, it's not...
Yeah.
She just didn't feel the need to play her own
Good for
music.
her.
And so she
Yeah.
played everyone else.
I said
And, yeah, it
Taylor
was cool.
Swift because they're
You
in a big
did.
fight.
You-
And so did
Yeah,
Ryan
that
over
was my
here.
guess.
Yeah, but Greg,
Yeah.
that's kind of cool that you guessed that because you're very humble. Greg is very humble.
Yes.
I try.
Yeah, he is.
Mama raised me right.
Yeah, and who? Mama
Elaine.
Elaine, we got to give a shout out to Elaine and your dad.
And
your
my dad.
Norman.
What's your dad's name?
Norman.
Norman.
A lot of people.
I have an aunt, Elaine.
You do?
I do.
It's a really good name.
It is a
Both
good
Elaine
name.
and Norman are really they're names that they don't exist much anymore.
No,
so I
you're
like
right.
having parents. with
Certain
rare
names have kind of phased out over the decades.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah, and we want to give a shout out to Adam and Brendan, right? Right? Let's
Adam,
talk about them.
Oh man, where to begin?
Really briefly, because we're running out of time.
Okay.
Yeah, Brendan, and he
Brendan
introduced you to
Cello.
what?
Yeah, well, Brendan, I mentioned him when we were on the red carpet
Yes.
about how he got me into hockey. He's my favorite. And Adam was here. Adam, my friends and I, we all went to Vegas in May, and Adam came out here for a few days prior to going to Vegas, so it was just me and him. And, you know, my friends, you know, from Rhode Island, we're all, like, people that are very confident in themselves, and they don't put on facades for anyone.
Right.
So we went to this audition. And, you know, it's like a very tense environment. There's a bunch of actors that are essentially going on a job interview. So it's all very quiet. Everyone's very studious. And Adam's just loud, just, you know, hanging out, doing his thing. Like, clearly on a different plane than everyone else in the room. And I'm not going to tell him to be quiet because he's one of my best friends. But he, you know, at one point this guy goes in. They call him in to audition. So he walks past us. He goes in the room. And Adam's like, is that guy auditioning for your role? And I was like, yeah, I mean, he looks like me. I imagine he is. He's like, oh, that guy's got no chance. And it's great, you know. Because, again, people in Rhode Island tend to be very grounded, and it was just, I don't know. Adam and a lot of my friends, they just kind of bring me down to earth. I love them to death.
Let's give a shout out to your parents, Chris. You just saw them a few weeks ago, right?
Yes. Yeah. I went back home to the Boston area.
Right.
Joe and Diane Wolfe.
Joe and Diane. Wolfe. Oh, I bet they are just so proud. I mean, their son is on TV, right?
They're awesome. Yeah.
Right? Did they ever come out here? Did they come?
Yeah,
visit you?
yeah. In fact, they're coming out Christmas time.
Oh,
so that's going to
nice.
be fantastic to see them for
Nice.
Christmas. They're getting older, so it's harder for them to travel cross country. It's really on me, and I try to get back home at least 2 or 3 times a year.
They're in Boston?
They're actually in Marshfield, excuse me, Marshfield, Massachusetts,
Yeah.
which is south of Boston.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's must be really close
It's a
to where I
coastal
grew up.
town.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's near Plymouth and all that.
I grew up like 45 minutes from Boston. And if
Yeah.
it's 45 minutes south, so Marshfield is probably
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And did
New
you
England
know,
boys.
Did you know, Greg, that Chris has been on Jimmy Kimmel?
I do now.
Jimmy, tell us about that. This is
Oh,
hysterical.
man.
This is hysterical.
Thank goodness. Most of the time, I think I've been on at least half a dozen times, but mostly
Yes.
not because of mistakes I've made, just because of uncontrollable circumstances around me.
Those
And
funny
one was
segments that they play.
The funny
Yeah,
segments
right,
that they play.
right.
And one of them, you know, he said, he introduced it as when bad things happen to good reporters. Here's our local reporter, Chris Wolfe, and check out what happened to him the other day. And I've been doing a fun, family-oriented story down in, I think it was Fullerton or Fontana or something, and I was in a park area surrounded by families and kids.
Sure.
And a homeless individual got up behind me and started flipping off the camera and cursing at everybody, and this is all on live television, and it was pretty bad, and it was frightening. So,
and Jimmy Kimmel, it's like, he said when bad things happen to good reporters.
Yes.
That was the segment, right?
That was his segment.
And what happened? Did they cut? I mean, did they?
Well, they blurred. You knew what he was doing, flipping the bird to everybody, but they blurred they blurred his hand, so you couldn't actually see him flipping everybody off. But when it was on KTLA, it was on live TV. Nothing we could do. He just popped up out of nowhere behind me and just started screaming and flipping the bird, and we heard the anchors gasping, and oh no, watch out, Chris, look behind you.
Does the station get fined or anything, or is it just something that just comes with the territory, right?
It comes with the territory. Something like that you have no control over, and of course we do our best, but that the FCC understands things like that are out of our control. You can't live in a bubble. So it happens.
What about if the anchor themselves gives the F-bomb? That happens on TV.
And that I would imagine.
I've watched those videos on YouTube.
Famously, there was one anchor, I think in New York, and she thought they were in commercial break.
Yes.
They were not, and she dropped the F-bomb. She was angry, dropped the F-bomb on live television, and that when that happens, she was reprimanded, from what I understand, had to issue a public apology. And in the case like that, the FCC may say, we're going to fine you for that. But when it's out of your control, outside circumstances, that's a different situation.
Yeah. And we only have a few minutes. Paul's giving me the time, but I did want to mention a story Chris has done recently on veterans. I mean, this is epidemic. Tell them about that, Chris.
According to military statistics, 22 veterans commit suicide across the U.S. every single day.
22 a day.
A day.
Well, they had that push-up challenge. Have you heard about that?
Yes. So they're doing the push-up challenge on social media. They're doing currently, it's a 3-day, 24-hour, around-the-clock kind of march along the old Pasadena Bridge in Pasadena to raise awareness about the epidemic of suicide among our veterans.
Because they jump there, right?
Yes, they do. That's the location where they would jump to their deaths.
Yeah.
And so, horrible situation. A lot of these service members are grappling with trauma and guilt and anxiety and depression. So I did the story. We put up we let them know where they can find a 24-hour crisis hotline. Go to your local Veterans Affairs office. There is help available. Get out there. Reach out to someone if you know there's a service member going through a struggle. Help them out. And when I do stories like that, that just is so rewarding to me.
Right.
If I can help one person.
Sure. Because some of the stories that you do, it's tragic. People are getting shot. It's horrible. How do you deal with that? I mean, that is just Chris?
Yeah.
You're talking to family members.
Absolutely.
That their loved one has been killed, murdered even.
Yes.
Yeah, there was a story you did. Guy was in the parking lot at a church, a kid. He got shot.
Yeah.
Just somebody walked up to him, boom.
Yep.
Is that how is that?
Oh yeah,
it
is. It's difficult. And you see their friends out there hours later at a makeshift memorial or sidewalk memorial with the flowers and the cards and candles, and they're all sobbing and embracing one another. And it's very difficult. But you just you disconnect for a period. You get your story on the air, and then you can go grieve in your own way when these stories affect you, which of course they do.
Right, and you're helping them grieve. I bet. Like you have to, Yeah. Oh my gosh, you hear that,
Absolutely.
Greg?
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot. But you both are actors, and you're going to auditions and working and a part. I'm so happy that you are a part of the Choice TV show. And Chris, has this been fun?
It has been a blast. I don't want it to end.
I know.
Who's this guy giving us these signals in the corner? I don't want it to end.
Just keep it rolling. Keep it rolling.
There's no one in out there. You can keep it rolling.
Let's go another hour. I'm having fun.
We got some big stars here. Come on. And so speaking of which, there have been, people, as being a public figure, people they stalk, right? I mean, that happens to not only Chris but anybody. It might happen to you, Greg.
It's happened to me.
It's definitely
weird people sending me messages and stuff.
All right, tell me about that. Yeah, is it creepy?
I mean, a lot of the times, but Yeah, I mean, some people, it's fun sometimes. A lot of people like ask for autographs if they see me on a show or something. I'm like, yeah, send you an autograph. But some people, they just like send me, nude pictures and this and that. Yeah, see, I mean, it's whatever. And I'm only in the birthing stages of my career, so I can't wait to see what happens in the next few years.
Man.
How about you, Chris?
Initially I tried to separate my public page, my official page, with my personal page.
Yeah.
But, a lot of people I know, they'll put up a generic picture of a landscape and then a phony name. But I have my face out there, my name, so a lot of people find my personal page and they'll friend me, and I usually accept all requests until someone crosses the line. Then I will defriend them and block them. But I've been nailed a few times. I think they're just an innocent viewer, innocuous viewer, and then next thing I know, they're putting up nude photos, porno pictures on my Facebook page.
It's outrageous.
And and I'm like, oh no, how many people have seen this? And it's just awful, and your heart sinks. And it's like, all right, delete, block, get them out of here.
Yeah. It's like what you said before, though. I mean, there's only so much that you can really control. So to a degree, people have to understand that. And as long as you get rid of it in a timely fashion, I mean, what more can you do?
Exactly.
Yeah. And real quick, Chris grew up in Singapore. I've always wanted to go to Singapore.
Yes.
From 11 to 14 years old.
Absolutely.
I hear it's clean.
It was phenomenal. My dad was a business executive for General Electric at the time, and it was 1978 to 81 we were out there. We got to travel the world. We got to live in this beautiful foreign country. It was phenomenal. Indian culture out there, Chinese, lots of expatriates. Malaysian also was a big part of the population down there because it's at the tip of the Malaysian Peninsula in Southeast Asia.
Right.
Got to travel all over the world. I went to the Singapore American School for those 3 years, which really was an international school because we had kids from all over the world, students, faculty, teachers from Australia, England, France, Germany, as well as the U.S. It was just phenomenal. It was an experience that I wish every single person could have.
And you feel safe there. You can walk the streets at midnight.
Very safe,
and feel
clean.
safe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Phenomenal experience.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
You been back recently?
Yeah.
Have not.
No.
I want to go back. I really do, but have not had the chance to go back.
I ask all my guests, and even Dana White, who I interviewed, president of UFC, I deal with business owners, and business owners, they struggle. You struggle. I've had struggles. We've all had struggles. What would you say to Chris, somebody that's listening, that's struggling right now? Let's say they want to be a newscaster, news reporter, and they're struggling. What advice would you have to give to anybody that struggles in their business?
Don't give up.
Yeah.
Don't give up.
Yeah.
Don't. Perseverance goes all the way.
Right.
Just don't give up.
Right.
Keep going. Keep following that dream. Work hard, and hard work will pay off. It may take some time, but it will pay off. It's the people who say, okay, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to give up. I'm going to, they're not, for sure.
Yeah.
100% you're not going to make it once you give up.
Right.
But if you're okay with that and that's what you want to do and chart a different course, then that's fine. But if you stick with something long enough and you work hard at it and give it your all, you're going to make it. You're going to be successful.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome. Greg, what about you?
I mean, that's an eternal truth that Chris just said, so it's hard to really top that. But to supplement it, I would say just also, not giving up, but on your own terms, doing what makes you happy, not feeling as though you have to do a certain thing that pleases somebody else necessarily. Because I think everyone can find success by their own route, by being themselves. I don't think you have to put on a facade or do things out of obligation necessarily that make you uncomfortable. So I think not giving up, but also kind of living on your own terms and doing what makes you happy is very important, and that helps you to persevere if you're content with yourself and you're doing what makes you happy.
Nice,
so,
nice.
Great advice.
And okay, now Paul is really. I think he's just going to cut us off if we don't.
I thought we could ignore the man.
No, it's okay. We can always do a Facebook Live. We can have our own show. Or do it on YouTube later. So I thank you so much, Chris Wolfe. See him on KTLA Channel 5 and his acting, and it's phenomenal. And I so appreciate you being on the show.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
And everybody, casting agents, directors, producers. I mean, we have two actors in the room, Chris Wolfe and Greg Audino. Thank you so much, Greg.
Hey, my pleasure.
We've been through the trenches with Choice TV. It's been fun. It's been a fun ride.
It's a great journey.
Everybody, check out the work of Greg and Chris and Choice TV tomorrow night. Why don't you give the day and time, Ryan? Why don't you say something?
Yeah, it'll be tomorrow night, 3 a.m. That's late night Friday, early morning Saturday.
There you go.
If you are
Saturday.
DVRing
There you
it.
go.
'Cause I know some
September
people will
16th.
DVR.
September
Into
16th,
the
technically the 17th, but if you stay up, it's
Right.
going to
It'll
be
be
on
the
the 16th.
greatest 30 minutes of your life.
It's really good.
Don't miss it.
It's really, really good.
Will there be any sex scenes in it?
No,
or
no, Paul.
Well, don't give it away.
No.
We could create a whole new contingent that watches if they think there's going to be a sex scene.
Yeah,
You don't
right.
sell yourself short.
Exactly. So this
Greg
is John,
will be handling all of those.
Yeah, don't worry, I
with
got-
that
I'm on
modest
top of
stock,
it.
with the modesty stock.
Modesty stock,
So
my favorite.
this is
Favorite piece of
John
wardrobe.
Marchese signing off from Choice TV Radio. Thank you so much for listening.
You've been listening to Choice TV Radio, the only show that's radio, TV combined. Right here on Orange County's only community radio station, OCTalkRadio.net.